Time to unlock some childhood trauma. Hello, welcome to part 2, episode 2, installment 2 of Kinda Chronic. So the first video went really well. I've been completely overwhelmed with people's responses and messages, and a lot of people have messaged me to be like, hey, I have chronic pain too, and you know, it was nice to hear someone young talk about it, so that's good. And I would say on pain levels today, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably at like a 4. Today's been an alright day, actually. Today I want to talk about my experiences of chronic pain in primary school. As I said, like all my pain started when I was like around 8, 9. So that it was year 4 up until year 6. 3 academic years having pain, and also the experience of having an operation and stuff in school. I want to touch on that too. This is going to be messy. So I first started going under investigations and like MRIs and scans and stuff when I was in year 2, so I was 7 years old. That was quite exciting because like you got to get picked up from school early and yeah, have days of school. My attendance was horrific. But yeah, I got to have like MRI scans, which I thought was really cool. I even took the leaflet into school to show my friends, like, I was in this tube for an hour. There was a lot of that and a lot of questions asked by my classmates, like, you know, what's going on? And I was like, I don't really know. This is about chronic pain, so I'm not going to go into that. Stop talking. Shh. Year 4 was the year when I was in recovery from my operation. So I'd finally had like my cast off and stuff. And during year 4, I started getting these really horrible stomach aches. And I went on these like weird diets and stuff by the doctors because they thought it might have been an allergy. And yeah, I couldn't eat anything red. That was one of the things that was weird. But I went on these like weird diets, and then they took me to like a physio in Chichester. This physio was called Gina, and she was absolutely lovely, and she was like trying to get to the bottom of the cause of my stomach aches because like nothing was found, and it was really weird. But essentially like my stomach aches had come from where I'd started limping because my body before my operation wasn't limping. As I mentioned before, my body was just kind of thrown off kilter. It wasn't really stomach pain, it was more just like body pain by the stomach area. Anyway, she was great. She gave me all these exercises and toolkits to use, and a lot of like mental help as well, like little sayings about posture, like sit tall, stand tall, ears tall, like you got strings on your ears. And it was just really like accessible and nice. Obviously I had to do my exercises, but I was treated like a grown-up. No, even though I was 9, I was treated like more grown up, and it was my responsibility to do my exercises, so like I wanted to do that and like prove myself. That was a really good experience, but I would say at school it wasn't really understood that there was things I couldn't do. For example, like we had an adventure playground, which was so sick. I live by the school actually, I walk past it a lot and I see the adventure playground and I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Like I couldn't really do that, and if I did, I would need people to be like far away from me because it pressured me to go quickly, and I got too anxious to move fast because I was still in recovery and I was still in pain, and my body doesn't work in particular ways. And I remember that, and I remember getting people getting really pissed off at me because I wasn't going around the adventure playground fast enough, and I was like, just leave me alone. It was not understood. And then there was one incident on this adventure playground. So I was bullied about my foot and stuff, just by like one person. The rest of the class were pretty chill. It wasn't awful, but it was mainly like taunts and stuff, and her making fun of the way I walk and making up funny nicknames for me, and I was just like, cool, that's great. Anyway, I was on the adventure playground, and if you can imagine it, you know, like planks of wood like that, and then they're like up above the ground, like quite high up, and you have to like kind of traverse along it to like a platform where there's like the fireman's pole kind of thing. Anyway, that. So I was along the wooden thing, like obviously your feet peek through, and she went onto the other side of it, and she grabbed my foot, pulled it down as hard as she could, and it was in between these two wooden slats. And I remember screaming out in pain. And I remember her face as well. She was like, and I was only out of my wheelchair for like maybe 2 months, maybe a month. Wait, not that long. And yeah, she did that. And I remember like dragging myself across to like the platform of the adventure playground and crying. And I think my friends immediately like came up and were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "This has just happened." And they went and got a teacher, and she got in trouble. She got in like big trouble. But yeah, that was like another thing. Like obviously bullies are gonna find a way to be mean to you, but I don't think that young people really understand physical health. I mean, they don't understand mental health either. Kids are assholes, but they don't understand physical things that they can't see, essentially. Like my foot in shoes looks fine, my body in clothes looks fine, debatably. Yeah, I think they don't really understand the severity of the issue, and by doing that they actually caused me a great deal of pain and actually regressed my recovery even further, which wasn't going well in the first place. That really knocked my confidence, not just on the adventure playground obviously, but just in general. I was just like, well, no one understands here. Like I can tell my friends that I hurt, but they don't understand the pain. Like it's so different to just like falling over on the playground and like grazing your knee. Also, I remember, so around this time when I was having these chronic stomach aches and everything, and needing time off school, and loads of people thought I was skiving. That happens in secondary school as well, but if someone tells you they're in pain, it's not your job to police whether or not they're in pain. If they're not and they're milking it, not your issue. And if they actually are and you've ignored it, then that's when it becomes an actual issue, because you need to listen to people, especially children, because they don't know what's wrong or right. If take vision for example, how are they meant to know that their blurry vision they've got isn't what it's meant to be? So until you listen and believe them and maybe look at going to get glasses, they won't know. So if a kid's telling you something feels wrong, listen. I don't know if that's a bit of like bullshit, I don't really know, but like that's how I feel. Like you can't just sweep it under the rug. Yeah, so lots of people thought I was skiving, and I remember getting a letter from school saying your attendance is low, and my mum and dad instantly, actually we got a text from the school saying my attendance was low, and I remember my mum and dad were in the car when it happened because we just got back from a hospital appointment, and they were like, "What the fuck?" Like, we're at hospital, we don't choose to have these appointments on school days, it's just that we have to do it, and like we can't skip the appointments. I think that's another issue as well in primary schools, is the expectation of such high attendance, because if someone's ill, like they're not going to get 100%. I think it's quite ableist, like in a mental sense as well. Like, PE. Maybe they should just do a whole thing on PE. No. I loved football as a kid. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Would always don my Chelsea shirt, which I still have because it was too big for me then. Loved being goalie. Loved I'm really not into football anymore. What's it called? Midfielder? The attack. Striker. I loved being a striker. Like I really enjoyed it. No, by no means I was any good at it, but I loved it. And then as soon as I started having operations and physical stuff, like I couldn't do PE lessons, and then I just didn't want to do PE lessons because I knew I was slow. I knew I wouldn't be picked for teams. I knew that if I was on a team, I would get shouted abuse at for not doing very well. Some weeks it was just games like Stuck in the Mud, absolute great game. And then some weeks it would be a game called like Jailbreak, which was really, really, really fucking intense, like a lot of running. And I remember when I remember every time they announced we were going to play Jailbreak, I literally would go into full-blown panic. One time I absolutely started hysterically crying, and they took me to one side and they were like, why are you crying? And I was like, because I'm slow. And it really, really got into my head. Like to this day, like I just know I can't do sport. Whereas the reality is I probably could if I started at the bottom level, but then that's hard on your pride. So I just remembered that, and I remember kids, as I said, kids are assholes. So if I was put on someone's team, they'd be like, oh, it's okay, like we'll help you through it, and then I'd hear them bitching about me to the coaches. So yeah, that's got to the point where I just started skipping PE. I would use my pain as an excuse to just not do it. I don't want to use my pain as an excuse ever, but it got to the point where like if I actually went to these lessons, I'd come out in a really, really shit mindset. We used to do swimming. Yeah, we were really lucky we had a swimming pool, but it was gross. And I would always tell mum swimming got cancelled and I wouldn't take my bag. Or I'd get to school and say I was sick. I couldn't do swimming lessons with my foot because, as I mentioned in the Getting to Know Me video, I'm very weird with sensory things around the foot. I just get really weird about sensory things in the water. Like, there's a plaster and it touches me in the water. Nope, I'm out. Peace out. Bye. Have a good life. Hate it. Hate it. And I got really paranoid that if I did swimming lessons, if I was ever in front of anyone, which I wouldn't have been because I was crap, but if someone like put their arm forward for a stroke, if they touched my foot, I just know that I would have gone into a panic attack. The days I did do swimming and stuff like that happened, I just had to go to the side and like catch my breath. People just thought I was weird. I mean, people were like, oh, like, come on, like, oh, and they just found it really annoying, which I probably was. 9, 10, 11 years old, I was annoying, but everyone else was too. I just was weird in a different way because they were all able-bodied and I wasn't. I just remember getting taunted by that. But I do remember getting like creds from the coaches and stuff for overcoming issues. Every year with the football coaches, they'd give you a medal for like man of the match, but they'd do a boy and a girl one. At the end of the year, they gave it to the person who put in the most effort, and I got it, I think, twice. Mainly the boys were like, why have they got it? Because they're really bad. Yes, I was bad, but did I try really hard? No. But did I do my best? No. But did I try harder than everyone else because I was at a disadvantage, bringing me up to a normal average level? Just about. The thing, like, people who don't have pain and difficult physical difficulties, they don't understand that there's barriers to get to where the normal people are. I sum up primary school in terms of pain and physical ability. It was a lot of misunderstanding and there was a lot of taunting, name calling. Kids are assholes. Stuff I don't really want to dive into too much until we get to like secondary school, because that's when it becomes like a thing. If you are a child and you are watching this with whoever you may be watching this with, and you're at school and you struggle with chronic pain or a physical disability, know that there are going to be people who do not believe you, and know that there are people who will try and pull you down when you do something good. But you should just keep in mind and know in your heart that like you've tried really, really hard. It's not easy, sadly, but it does make you stronger. It makes you tenacious, it makes you determined and like gritty. It makes you who you are. Like, if I hadn't had all of those experiences, I wouldn't be who I am today. It's character building, it's all a chapter for the book. Just remember that kids aren't very nice to people, and adults, listen to your children. If they say they're in pain and if they say that they don't like something because of the way it feels on like a scar, or they don't like the way something feels because it reminds them of something traumatic, just let it go. For example, like for me, I have to sleep with socks on, which is something really simple. But quite often I have to sleep with one sock on because it makes me feel safe. Because when I had my operation and after my operation, I always slept with a boot on my left leg, like a big old fluffy sock and a boot to yeah, realign my foot. It was like I had like a little twisty thing on, so it was like a splint and it would pull my foot back like that. So uncomfortable, but it had butterflies on. So for me, I have to wear a sock at night, and it's like quite often like one sock, just to feel safe and secure. And it's just like really weird things that like stem back to your childhood when I do things because it makes me feel comfortable. I feel like I could have done a much better job of this, you know. I feel like a lot of this was just blabbering. Oh yeah, also if you're a kid, do your exercises. I swear to God, I regret, if I could change one thing in my life, that I wish I did my exercises and looked after myself the way I was meant to when I was a kid. It seems so daunting, and like even as a 21-year-old doing my stretches and stuff like that, effort, it's so much effort and it's a lot of responsibility, and you kind of think, I don't want to have to do this, but just know in the long run it's going to help you so much. Like, get your friends at school to remind you of things. If you're slouching at your work desk, get your friend to say, sit up. Get the teacher to nag you. Make yourself a little achievement board. I had a little sticker chart, and I put a little sticker next to each exercise I did. And then after, I think it was after 2 weeks, I'd get a treat with mum. Like, I'd go to the cinema, or I could get an extra sweet at the sweet shop down the road. There's lots of different ways that you can motivate yourself. I would rely on that support system you can make and that you can get, because they will help you a lot, and it shouldn't just be down to you. And it never is just down to you. Hair is still a mess. I think mum and dad are going to try and attack it this week. And I get new glasses tomorrow. That's very exciting. If you've got any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Give this a like, subscribe to me. Yeah, I'll see you next time. So next time I'm going to talk about experiences of chronic pain in secondary school, which I promise will be better than this because my memory is better and there's more to talk about. I'm hoping I'm going to get better at this. I mean, experience is probably the best thing. I think that's everything that I want to say. If not, I'll make a part 2. There we go, fixed it. So yeah, take care of yourself, stay hydrated, take your medication, do your stretches, tell someone you love them, listen to Love Story, Taylor's version on loud and scream your heart out, and have a baller of a week. And I'll see you whenever the next one goes up, which will be someone cool. Bye.